Hey y'all, you know what's great about this yogurt? It's homemade. Now look, I know this sounds intimidating, but I promise you making homemade yogurt is not as hard as it sounds. So take a breath and let's get started. Step 1, choose your milk. I'm using 2% milk, but you can use any kind of milk you'd like. They say whole milk will yield a creamier yogurt, but I've had really good luck with 2%. Step 2, we're gonna heat our milk to 180 degrees. Notice I said heat the milk. You do not want to boil it. And although you can do this on the stovetop, I'm doing it in an Instapot because I can use the warm function to bring it up to temperature. Now, a lot of Instapots have the yogurt function on it, but mine doesn't, so I'm having to do it the old-fashioned way. Now, I would say after about 45 minutes, you want to start checking it with your thermometer. So what I do is give it a good stir and then stick that thermometer in there and see what temp I'm at. If I'm still not at temp, I'll turn it on saute, give it a good stir while it's heating, and check the temp again. Again, you want to gradually bring this milk up to temp. You do not want it to boil. So now that it's up to temp, you want to let it cool down to about 110 degrees. Now, if you are using an Instapot, you can always sit it down in a bowl of cold water with some ice cubes added to it. And if you're like me, you'll get busy and forget about it, and then the temp will go a lot lower than it should. And then I just pop it back into the Instapot and heat it back up. See, no panic needed. So now it's time to add our yogurt starter. And all yogurt starter is just plain yogurt. I'm actually using some yogurt left over from my last batch that I made, but you can buy your own in the store. Just make sure that it's plain, full-fat yogurt with cultures. Now I'm also gonna add my flavoring in at this point. And this is where you can make it how you want it. You can use any kind of flavoring you would like. Coconut, vanilla, peach, it's all up to you. Also make sure when you stir this in that you gently stir it. You don't wanna agitate it too much because it can disrupt the cultures. And this part is the hardest. Are you ready? Listen carefully. Are you listening? So what's the hardest part? The wait time. Now, 8 hours is the minimum time for it to incubate, but you can go longer if you like. But you should know that the longer you let it incubate, the more sour tasting it will be. So if you're looking for more of a sour cream, then let it go for about 12 hours. But this is what your yogurt should look like when it's done. Now, when I first started making yogurt, I didn't have a yogurt strainer, so I just used a cheesecloth. And that worked okay for a little while, but this thing makes straining so much easier. Now, this part is important because you want to get a lot of that extra whey off of your yogurt so that it's not so watery. And straining also helps you reach that consistency that you'd like. So the longer that you strain it, the thicker it will be. And now it will go into the fridge to stop the incubation process. Now I like Greek yogurt, but I want it to be thick. So leaving it in overnight is just the perfect consistency for me. So once you've reached the consistency that you like, you just dip it out and put it in the container of your choice and stick it back in the fridge. And that's it. That's all there is to it. It is ultimately just heating milk, adding yogurt to it, and waiting. And in my opinion, it's well worth waiting for. You're welcome.